Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is John.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look at some of our favorite action movies from the era of Arnold.
Schwarzenegger is the icon of the genre, and we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
We're going to get down into the nitty-gritty and examine the good, the bad, the ugly, and the laughable in these movies.
But we're always coming from a place of love. You don't watch these movies as much as we have unless you have a genuine affection for them. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. How y'all doing? Well, that's stupid. It's weird to ask a question of the audience. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. We're here again to kick off guys? We're here again to kick off a brand new movie. I'm super excited because it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger flick.
Yeah, we are going to the well of Arnold.
It's a deep well.
You can't go wrong when you return to the well of Arnold.
He's the inspiration, so I never feel bad about coming back to the fucking figurehead, man.
No. It's like seeing an old friend.
All right. This is the other movie that Schwarzenegger made in 1987. We're not talking about Predator.
No.
We're talking about The Running Man.
I love this movie so much. I know it's hot garbage, but I love it so much.
I don't know how I missed out on this one, but I did not grow up watching this the way that I grew up watching a lot of the others.
Really?
Maybe it just was not on TV as regularly as the rest.
I feel like you're probably right. This is one that I grew up watching quite a bit. I remember, mom and dad worked on weekends and we would get dropped off at my grandmother's trailer in McMurrin's.
Shout out Jimmy Sue.
That's right. R.I.P. We'd get dropped off at McMurrin's trailer park. And this was one that, like 7, 8 years old that I remember vividly getting popped in the VHS along with Bloodsport and select others. And we would watch this, violence, gore, and all.
So she was a fan of these movies herself, or the tapes just were at her trailer?
Both. I think she really liked like muscles and the male form, as it were.
Okay.
But
good for her.
I think that they were in her house because my uncle also lived with her at the time and they were his, but she was also into them. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
Like, couldn't have been older than 1987. So I was like five or six when I saw this.
She had this brand. This was like when it was first out on video.
But I think the first time that I saw this was probably like 1988, 89. So
okay.
Yeah, I was probably a little older,
right.
like seven years old is about right.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. It's kind of bonkers to think about letting some kids watch this now. But
I mean, this is ultra violent, this movie.
It certainly is.
But yeah, this movie is fucking wild, man.
I love it.
It's also got like some killer names, some action pedigree.
Yeah, the cast list is crazy.
Do you want to run through?
Yeah, let's run through it.
Okay, aside from Arnold, who we know his pedigree.
Right, no schlub. Yeah, we got Yaphet Kotto, who was Mr. Kananga in Live and Let Die. You may remember, Bond movie.
I love Yaphet Kotto.
Yeah, same. Jesse the Body Ventura in his prime, mind you.
Yes.
Pro wrestler and one-time governor of the state of Minnesota. Who else we got?
Richard Dawson, who is known, I guess, at that point as being a game show host.
Yeah, that was his thing.
He was the lecherous host of Family Feud.
Oh, my God.
Who would just just plant kisses on contestants, I think, whether they wanted it or not.
It's go on YouTube and find any one of a number of videos, like compilation videos of him just kissing women. It's the weirdest thing in the world. Would not happen now.
Definitely not fly. Yeah, it was a different era. The female lead, Maria Conchita Alonso, was beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful woman. Oh my God. She was also in Predator 2.
That's right.
Which is legit.
Yeah.
I got Jim Brown on here, legendary football player, Hall of Famer.
That's right.
Viewed as one of the best running backs ever to play the game.
Another pro wrestler, Professor Toru Tanaka.
Yes.
Frequent depictor of henchmen, so this was not a departure for him.
Yeah, he had like an odd job thing going from James Bond, sort of this like just hefty Asian guy, very like thick.
Yeah.
One of the original thick boys.
That's right. Hot. It's so hot.
I got Arnold's boy, Sven Ole Thorsen.
He's awesome, man.
He's got such a visual presence.
He is compelling, very compelling. In everything Arnold did in the 80s, but most recently was Tigress and Gladiator.
Yeah, that was
stuck
badass.
out for me. Yeah. And then my favorite
musical royalty.
My favorite two castings of the movie, Mick Fleetwood playing a character not cleverly named Mick, the leader of the resistance, and Dweezil Zappa.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Frank.
That's right. Not even Frank Zappa's most interestingly named child. But yeah, what a cast list.
It's wild. I wonder how the musicians found their way into the mix.
I have no idea.
Or, well, Dweezil did music as well. He just was no Frank, right?
That's right. I liked Dweezil Zappa's music. I can't remember the show. There was some show in the like early 2000s that he did where he was more of just like a commentator or a pundit. He and his brother Ahmed both. But yeah, but they would sometimes feature his music, and it's good, but it's not his dad at all.
Moon Unit was not involved.
Moon Unit, I don't think at that time was involved.
This story, which is a wild story and a pretty flimsy story, really, was based on, I think, a short story by one Richard Bachman.
That's right.
AKA Stephen King.
Which is just bonkers to me, but I love that. I love that factoid because I mean, too young to appreciate it at the time, but now as an adult, I'm like, what?
Do you think he wrote it under a pseudonym because he's like, this just isn't a Stephen King story? Or was this early in the career?
That's an interesting question. I didn't look and see where it fell in his oeuvre, his output, as it were. But that's an interesting question. We should tweet him and ask him.
Yeah, let's do that.
For sure.
This just goes to bolster the theory, though, that anything that Stephen King ever put down on paper has been made into a television show or movie.
Yeah. They're very visually compelling. He can definitely set a scene for sure.
It's always a solid premise. It doesn't always have a solid follow through.
Yeah, the ending is questionable.
And screenplay by our man Steven D'Souza.
We keep saying we're coming back to the well, and I feel like 90% of the movies of the 80s that we talk about and the 90s were written in part by Steve D'Souza.
He might have had like a very symbiotic relationship with Arnold as well. Like they seem to thrive on what they could do with each other's material, you know? But yes, D'Souza, let's just crank through some of what he wrote in the 80s. I've got Die Hard, Commando, which we both talked about, 48 Hours.
Die Hard 2.
Die Hard 2. And then I think his career sort of went a little downhill after that.
Yeah, there's a lot of really bad stuff later.
Did he have something to do with Street Fighter?
He directed Street Fighter.
Oh, he should have stuck to writing.
I think that was like, yeah, that was definitely a crest. That was the trough, rather, of his career.
We could talk about that movie sometime.
No, we're definitely going to do that one.
I remember liking it when it came out, like really liking it. And I really did not like the Mortal Kombat movie.
Really? Exact opposite for me.
Yeah.
I loved Mortal Kombat.
See, I didn't play Mortal Kombat as much as I played Street Fighter. But when I went back to review Street Fighter, oh yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
And Mortal Kombat's kind of awful as well.
But even having watched Mortal Kombat relatively recently, that movie at the time I was aware. I was like, this is a better movie than Street Fighter. Street Fighter was garbage, and I was a Street Fighter player. I sucked at Mortal Kombat, still do. Street Fighter was my jam, and I remember watching the movie and being so disappointed.
Oh,
I couldn't wrap my mind around why they chose Guile, but it was because Van Damme's not Asian and he couldn't play Ryu.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is true. There wasn't, you didn't have like a Bruce Lee type leading man, a Jet Li or even a Jackie Chan or somebody who could maybe try to play that part.
And Mortal Kombat was the exact opposite because Liu Kang was the main character.
Yeah.
So
and they just decided we don't need an A-lister for Mortal Kombat. We'll just try to make the best movie we can.
Right. I loved that. I thought it was really good.
Well, we can probably both agree that neither one is great.
No, 100%. They're both bad.
Tell us about the music.
Well, I'm glad you asked. The music is by one Harold Faltermeyer, who
Fuck yes.
He was killing it. He was crushing the game. Beverly Hills Cop, the Axel F theme is his property, as was that. From Top
he
Gun.
did the score. He did the score stuff for Top Gun.
And I love the theme that he came up with this movie. I'm always partial to some 80s synth, and I appreciate that it's enjoying a renaissance in music right now for the past
it's like
8 years or so.
Stranger Things. This stuff was fit right in on the Stranger Things
so
soundtrack
good.
or something.
But even the theme for this movie, though simple, I mean, he just takes it up, take it up the scale, and then jump down. It's so simple. It's so simple, but it's memorable as fuck. So
I digged it as well, or dug it.
I digged it, baby. Tell us about who directed this piece of shit.
This movie was directed by Paul Michael Glazer. Mm-hmm. It sounds like the name of somebody with some clout.
Yeah.
But he's best known for playing Starsky in the Starsky and Hutch TV series.
What?
He also directed The Cutting Edge.
I love that movie.
The figure skating flick? Like couples figure skating? He directed The Air Up There.
Another guilty pleasure of mine. That movie is really, really good, actually.
And he directed Kazam.
And that movie sucks. Yeah.
I think I've seen Air Up There. I don't know that I've seen Cutting Edge as much as it was a 80s VHS staple.
Oh, man.
As well. And then Kazam, definitely not.
Cutting Edge was on TBS every fucking day, seemed like, right after Saved by the Bell. And then The Air Up There was, I think it was a Disney movie with Kevin Bacon where he plays
he was like recruiting some coaching African basketball
prince.
players.
He was trying to recruit an African
tall.
an African prince.
I remember that one.
And went out there. That movie is really, really good.
Yeah.
Holds up.
Did you, this is a side note, this probably doesn't make the final cut. Did you used to watch The Boy Who Could Fly, which was on heavy rotation on TBS?
Remind me of the plot. I think so. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, he seemed kind of like he's probably autistic. He liked to stand out on the roof with his arms out.
Yes. And then
young
it turns
Fred
out at the
Savage
end
was like the little brother of
with
the
big
girl.
wheel.
Turns out he really can fly.
Oh, man. That movie was good.
He squirted like piss all over the bully kids with a squirt gun.
I remember reenacting the scenes with the big wheel, especially because we rocked a big wheel. Me and my brothers.
I was definitely loved that. But that just made me think that was probably the caliber of film that Cutting Edge was.
Yeah.
TBS, man, they just had their roster of movies. They had a stable of movies, and they just played those shits over and over and over.
Ted Turner knew what the people wanted.
Yeah, he did.
Mediocre movies and Braves games.
Oh my God. So, like Sanford and Son reruns.
Oh, what the hell? It was the most bonkers lineup on TV. that channel and USA were just, they didn't make any sense whatsoever.
Absolutely not.
But Running Man, Kevin, was made for $27 million.
Damn, that's kind of a lot,
right,
for that era.
And it only grossed $38.1 million. So
but it's lived on. I'm sure it's done better as it's gained more cult
syndication.
Status.
Yeah, absolutely,
for sure.
I loved this movie, and I guess I don't know. We can talk about it. Break down the plot.
So first, I'll say the opening credits start rolling, and that opening credit font just is the same font as the opening credits from Terminator. Like, it is the same font. It's not a different font. That just killed me. I was like, wow, okay, sure, why not? I mean, it's sort of like a futuristic sort of sci-fi font.
Maybe they'd already paid for the font. Maybe.
Perhaps.
But you also get those like 3D running men.
Yeah, that was a pretty good little Arnold silhouette. And I was running through there.
I was like, and that's where they blew the budget, was on the digital running men.
There was also like, then the Arnold's name and the title of the film were sort of these 8-bit looking graphics, like blocked. They were little blocks that looked like Nintendo font or something.
Yeah, that was strange. De rigueur at the time. Just like video game font was all the rage as Nintendo and Atari were proliferating across the world.
Let's talk about how prescient the view of the year 2017 was.
Yeah.
So the movie's 87. So this is 30 years in the future.
That's right.
They're predicting the world economy has collapsed.
Check.
Resources are running out.
Check.
The U.S. is being run as a police state.
We're pretty close.
There's like, shortage of food and all this type of stuff. I mean, I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, they nailed it. Stephen King.
Way to go, Steve.
Oh my God. It's really not
what
far
else you
off.
Got, Stephen King?
Oh man. Please tell me it's going to be better in 30 more years.
It makes me cringe thinking about it.
But yeah, they're censoring art, music, and all communications. The government runs all the media. And The Running Man is the most popular television show in TV history.
Right. Sort of foretelling the advent of reality TV as well. This show. And like people's just thirst for watching other people be harmed, I guess, Yeah. It's no different now than, it's like watching football. You want to see people get hit.
That's true. So the opening credit crawl says that the show suppresses people's desire for freedom. It just makes them, they just like to watch these futuristic gladiators.
They just want to zone out, baby.
Yeah, I guess so. But there's an underground group that is resisting the government's control, and they'll be our protagonists, I guess.
That's right.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger's character is Ben Richards.
It's a very that's a Fantastic Four amalgam.
Yeah.
Ben Richards, right?
It's just very much like a everyman name, I guess, like if you were trying to blend in. But he's sort of this paramilitary helicopter pilot, which is kind of cool. Schwarzenegger in life, I think, before he got into all the bodybuilding, he drove tanks.
Oh, really?
For the Austrian military.
The Austrian military, just the phrase sounds funny. Don't know why.
I mean, imagine he came from, like an Austrian military grunt to governor of California, biggest movie star in the world. Unbelievable.
What a life, man.
I know. It's going to be, the problem is no one who could play him in a movie, in a bio.
That's a great question. Does Arnold have a biography or an autobiography out? He has to, right?
Yeah, I own it. I've got one. Yeah, I found it like on sale for dirt cheap at the library. Got it for $1. I don't think I've ever read it. It is thick. It's probably like 600 pages.
You need to hit me with that. I want to read that shit.
I need to do that research myself.
Just so that I can get inspired about my own life.
But yeah, so Ben Richards. I love these movies where Arnold has like the most just American Joe type of name.
Oh my God.
There's no explanation for the thick Austrian accent.
None needed.
But man, so they're zipping around in the helicopter. It's like the worst, him and 3 or 4 other soldiers, the worst like rear screen projection on this.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
It's not great.
Well, they blew all the money on the opening credits, so
they're all just wearing baseball caps, like no helmets, nothing like that you would expect a guy flying a helicopter to be wearing.
Right. And I love that they're flying a mission to Bakersfield, California. Fucking shithole.
Yeah, man. Oh my God. But anyway, there's some type of what they call a food riot going on down there. So he gets orders over the radio that he's to open fire on the unarmed civilians down there, but he refuses.
Good on you, Ben Richards.
Yeah, man.
I said the crowd is unarmed.
He's looking at this weird screen, like a display in front of him that's just got a bunch of little dots and it says no weapons evidence. I'm like, what is this thing's technology that it can tell there's no weapons, but all it can show you is dots?
Metal detection, maybe, or sonar
Perhaps.
radar? I don't know what it's supposed to be, but
it's really important to headquarters, though, that these innocent civilians be killed.
What the
apparently,
fuck?
Because they are ordering him to do it. He's saying no. Then they tell the other guy, I guess the co-pilot, that
lots of women and children down there. All they want is food, for God's sake.
All they want is food. They order his co-pilot to take control, and he's just instantly got a gun drawn. Like, it's out already.
These guys have drank the Kool-Aid, man.
What are the odds? I was thinking that even a helicopter pilot is carrying a pistol. It seems like the last thing you're going to need.
Maybe the military has evolved quite a bit, or the police, rather, whatever government group this is that he's working for.
But Richards, being the magnanimous good guy that he is, he just starts fighting everyone in the helicopter.
We get some of the most Arnold yells, like the most stereotypical Arnold yells ever. Well, he's like kicking ass, knocks a guy onto the stick, which causes the chopper to sort of pitch over and him to almost fall out.
How is the helicopter not crashing? There's no one in the pilot's seat. That dude's been like knocked onto the joystick or whatever. Yeah, it's just like no one is flying this thing and it's not crashing.
And they're not like super high up. They're relatively close to the ground, it seems like.
They're close enough to just open fire with guns, apparently.
And kill the 1,500 people.
Yeah, so this got this just awful choreography on the fight. As you say, a lot of good grunting. And Arnold's got a few, like, I can't remember. I was thinking when I was watching, I can't remember a movie where he's ever been like a very proficient fighter. Like, it's always just brawling and punches. He does this like backhand sort of punch thing a lot.
Yeah.
He's just got a few staple moves, but never one where it's like, oh wow, he's got some skills, like the way movies are done now, where you get a Jason Bourne or somebody and he's clearly had some martial arts training, for sure. That's just a thing.
Well, maybe we couldn't see it. It's too early to tell in these close quarters.
Yeah, that's true. Inside of a helicopter, there is no technique.
That's right.
But yeah, the helicopter is like banking wildly. Richards sort of halfway falls out the helicopter. He's got one foot like hooked on some railing on the inside.
Who fucking
it's like,
knows what it gets
It is
caught
ridiculous.
On.
I mean, it is like Han Solo in Return of the Jedi when he's
hanging over the
hanging on by a
sarlacc.
toenail. It's like it would be impossible to be hanging on in that fashion.
Yeah, there's no way that he doesn't topple out of the helicopter to his death. I also don't understand like why catch him. I mean, is it like why catch him?
One of the guys is like they want us to bring him back, not kill him or something, but I'm not sure why. They reel him back into the helicopter, and then one of the guys is like, you're going to fry for this. It's like, I can't see that. You're going to fry for refusing to kill civilians. I mean, I understand you refused orders, but that's not a death sentence. Maybe it is in
2017
reality.
In this reality, anything goes, I suppose.
Guess so. And then one of the other guys sort of says, and I'll see you in hell.
There's a lot of not great acting and line delivery from these guys, but they were trying to really, make something from their brief moment in the sun.
They were going big. They were a lot of big performances.
That's true.
Not a lot of subtlety. So we get a slow dissolve to 18 months later. We're at like a prison camp. Richards is like, he's doing hard labor at this prison camp along with a bunch of other guys.
There's a lot of shoveling and welding and digging and things like that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell exactly what it is they're doing.
Yeah, people are always just digging in prison. It's like what I imagine the gulag in Siberia. It's like no one really knows what they're doing.
Busy work, kind of.
Just digging holes. They're looking for the stones, like in Temple of Doom. So yeah, the inmates are wearing explosive collars and are being worked to death, as we mentioned.
There's like a pile of bodies.
Yeah,
it's kind of like some World War II type concentration camp images.
That's exactly what it sort of evokes for me too. And we see Arnold doing what every director loves to have Arnold do, and that is carry something big and heavy.
Yes. He's
also
got an I-beam. He's just got a massive, like an 8-foot I-beam on his shoulder. It's like he's strong. Get it?
Yeah, very strong. He's also bearded, which it's not a great look for Arnold. I can't, like, usually I'm really good at picking up whether it's a facial wig or not, and I can't tell, but it looks like shit.
It looks, if it's not, I'm going to guess that it's not fake, but it looks fake.
Yeah, Arnold could not grow facial hair, I guess.
It's just, the hair is like very fine, very, very thin. Like it's not a full, robust beard.
I imagine it's like 18 months of beard. He should have a lot more beard.
Yeah. I think of him in Predator when he had stubble, and that was a good look for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, this beard, never.
Not a good look for Ben Richards.
There's a reason why you haven't seen it in more movies, I guess.
Correct. Correct.
The guards are like just laughing and talking about the television program, The Running Man, as these corpses are being loaded onto like a flatbed.
That's right.
It's like these dudes have lost their humanity.
That's right. The other guard just laughing, saying, "I never miss an episode." And it's we hear all this during a prisoner transfer. And we get a look at that point at like how the armed perimeter of the camp works, and that it has to be armed and disarmed by guards via these like little briefcase looking workstations or something. They look like video game consoles almost.
Yeah. Then, like inside this warehouse type area, there's this kind of nerdy looking inmate, Weiss, who he's watching over the shoulder kind of one of the guards as he's entering the code to disarm the security perimeter.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell kind of setup is this, though? This guy's just got his little station set up down on the floor amongst the inmates.
Yeah, no idea. We call that visual hacking in today's world. Just like being able to peek over someone's shoulder and see 653-9X is the code for those of you who want to know.
So Weiss memorizes that real quick, and he signals to the others, I guess. And then we get Richards and Laughlin, that's Yaphet Kotto's character.
That's right.
They start fighting with each other.
Yeah, they're throwing real punches, though. For a fake fight, they're like going at it.
Yeah, I thought it didn't seem fake.
No.
But when the guards try to intervene, then a full-fledged riot breaks out.
Hell yeah.
It's like all the other inmates are getting involved. Guards are just opening fire, shooting up.
That's crazy
indiscriminately.
To me. Yeah, like, and I get that. Guards having live ammunition, I guess, but just instead of trying to like keep the peace, they're just going straight to lethal force. That's kind of nuts to me.
And they've got their own, like, presumably their own guards are down in the mix as well.
Exactly.
Like they could just hit anybody.
Doesn't matter. No, anyway, those guys get jumped by the prisoners, and so the prisoners now have the guns.
We got a great moment with Ben Richards up on the catwalk. He sort of scoops a guard up in his arms like a baby, and he says, "Give you a lift." He tosses him off the thing. It's our first of many horrible one-liners in this movie.
Just feeding Arnold his candy.
I mean, Commando was high on the kiss-off lines, but this has got easily twice as many. There's like 2 kiss-off lines per kill just about in this movie.
Yeah.
As opposed to one every other kill.
They're really doubling down. Maybe Arnold went to D'Souza and was like, "I need more, baby.
More. Give me more.
Give me more." So by this time, too, Weiss has gotten a hold of a security box. Arnold has a gun now. And Weiss is having a hard time disarming the perimeter.
It's weird.
It's like his one thing to do.
Well, he's saying maybe the walls are too thick or something like that. But the guard was just using it inside the building. So that doesn't really make sense. Now, I will say, we'll see this, I guess, they pop outside, right?
Right.
And there's another guard with another sort of little same terminal. It would make more sense if they could have just said, "I'm trying to disarm it, but this other guy's keeping it armed,"
Right.
Like he's thwarting me.
Yeah, I think we're supposed to gather from seeing those couple of shots that maybe that box outside was the one causing interference, and that's why it wasn't working. That's the take home lesson that I got. We also get a quick exchange between Richards and Laughlin that clues us in that they aren't buddies. Talking about like not throwing punches during the fight. It's like, "You're a good actor, Laughlin. Who's acting?" So we get it that there's no love lost there between those guys.
And it makes sense because the inmates think of Ben Richards as like
killer.
This murderous military guy, and most of the people who are in jail are anti-government.
Right.
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 So it makes sense. But yeah, outdoors, you get Weiss is still struggling to make this the thing disarm the perimeter.
Weiss. God.
And then we got our inmate Chico, who decides he's just going to make a run for it.
This part is like, it is forever ingrained in my mind. This
as a 7 or 8 year old.
Exactly.
That was a lot, man. So he runs across the perimeter, but the system is still armed and his head just blows up or blows right off his body. It was a fucking good effect.
Yeah, it always looked so believable to me that was his head just exploding.
It was like, it had to be for me easily the best like kill effect in this movie.
For sure.
Yeah. Poor Chico, man.
Yeah, we hardly knew Chico, but he's gone now. Didn't really get a chance. Laughlin kills the guard with the other security box, thank God.
Right, and then Weiss is able to easily disarm the security. So that's what makes me think that they were just at odds with each other. You know, as Weiss is trying to disarm it, the other guy's trying to keep it armed.
That's kind of humorous. I wish that they'd made more out of that. Like,
yeah, I mean, it would have been. I just feel like as a storytelling device, it would have visually. It seemed like that's what was happening to me as an audience, is that they were butting heads trying to get the system arm, disarm. But you could have just said that, and then it would have made more sense than acting like the walls were too thick, and that's why it wasn't working inside or whatever else. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at any rate, yeah. So once that other guard is killed, then Weiss easily is able to get the thing disarmed, and everyone just sort of all the inmates disperse.
They're like
right?
hoofing it out of there, and that's where we get our first main theme. That simple but memorable main theme. I love it.
Yeah, dude, Faltermeyer.
Way to go, Faltermeyer. Getting it.
Yeah, that dude, man, he was crushing it. This would have been probably the next thing that he did after the Top Gun, Top Gun, right? Which Top Gun was fucking epic and huge. That and Beverly Hills Cop. He was probably a hot commodity.
I would like to see what he was making, what his salary was for all these little nuggets of goodness.
Yeah, man. I hope he's still
tasty,
well taken care
nuggets.
of.
Yeah.
The Axel F theme, unbelievable.
Iconic. Yeah, all of them are. They're all iconic.
Anyway, so now I love this. We get Richards is still hanging out with Laughlin and Weiss, and they've made their way to the city proper, Los Angeles.
I love this partially like animated background painting of LA. Yeah. That is so dope looking. Like even now, I love it. It's like very Blade Runner. It looks so
that's
cool.
What I was thinking, dude. It was sort of that like dark, gritty look that Blade Runner had.
Yeah,
most definitely. And there's a newscast that's playing because newscast makes for great exposition. The newscast is saying that it's permanent detainment if you're caught breaking curfew.
That's right. Proper ID is required.
I believe they say that there's double points given if you report a family member. That's
yikes.
Dark.
Very, very Hitler of you. And
then she says this other like sort of Orwellian whatever, where it's like, and remember, like, with ICS, seeing is believing or something. And it's like, yeah, it's sort of like you just believe whatever we're telling you here on the propaganda machine.
Chinese and North Korean state TV.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
After the newscast runs out, then there's a commercial on for The Running Man.
That's right.
Which is produced in cooperation with the Department of Justice, which is nuts. But then there's just all this footage from the show. But I am pretty sure that that's footage that we see later in the film, like in that.
It most definitely is. It's most definitely like you don't really get a good look at anyone's face. It's just bodies, but it's 100% movie footage of Arnold Schwarzenegger or his body double.
Now the guys, they're kind of incognito.
Yeah.
And I thought Yaphet Kotto was fucking dressed like Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when he's in disguise. He's just got a trench coat and like a giant fedora on. And it's like, it's just so conspicuous.
Yeah.
But they are all conspicuous. I mean, if you want to get real about it.
That's the truth.
That's what I had. But yeah, he really, when I was rewatching it like this morning, I was like, holy shit, he's just like Raphael. You know, when he goes out to see the movie
like
or
sort
whatever.
of a big turtle in a trench coat. You're going to LaGuardia, right? I love that movie. It still checks out. That movie's awesome. And then we got our group of misfits have made their way to like the seedy headquarters of the Resistance, where they meet up with our boy Dweezil Zappa playing Stevie. And I guess I heard that they named the character Stevie after Stevie Nicks because of
Mick
Fleetwood, who's wearing...
That is amazing.
Yeah, a pretty neat bit of trivia there, but he's wearing the Resistance Fighter uniform, which includes a raspberry beret, the kind that you'd find in a secondhand store.
Oh my God. Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, they take him down into Stevie takes him down into this underground lair where the good guys are hanging out.
Playing Mick.
Yeah. He's made up to look much older than I assumed that he was,
right.
Which I'm not sure why you cast Mick Fleetwood and a little bit of stunt casting to play a much older guy with a lot of makeup and wigs and all that.
I don't feel like Mick Fleetwood ever looked especially young. Definitely spry, but like they wouldn't have had to do anything real. I don't get it either. Why
was he that gray in '87?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Man, were you Fleetwood Mac? You a fan?
Yeah. I mean, I became more of a fan in college because I had some buddies in music school that listened to them a lot. I mean, I knew all the hits and stuff from when I was a kid, but I listened to them more in college.
Once they brought in the Americans and like they put out that second Fleetwood Mac album, maybe
Rumors is the best one.
75 might have been the second one called Fleetwood Mac that they put out. And then after that, Rumors, those two, incredible.
Yep. They're so good.
I fucking love those, like cover to cover. They're badass.
Rumors is one of the best albums ever.
Yeah, man. Fucking killer. Anyway, back to this amazingness of running.
So they've been brought to Mick Fleetwood because he's real good at taking off those explosive collars we glean.
Right. And he's just sort of small talking. The system for taking the collars off is kind of weird. He clips some wires or does some shit, but then he just sort of drops it down a hole and it's like, everyone stand back, and it blows up.
Yeah, because not really disarmed so much as just taking them off, and then they still blow up, which is terrifying because...
Yeah, that seems dangerous.
There's a lot of potential to go wrong anyway.
I would think you don't do it in a crowded room.
No, you do it outside.
But yeah, so Laughlin is explaining that the government has now shut down the schools and is brainwashing all the kids.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the rebels, they want to hack into that ICS government feed.
Yeah, their 24/7 feed.
Yeah, they want to take that propaganda machine off the air, but no one knows where they transmit from.
Right.
So that'll be our mission, as it were.
They got some groundwork to do to figure it out.
Yeah.
For sure.
They start having a discussion that Mick doesn't want to take off Ben Richards' collar.
Yeah, because he was paramilitary before.
Right, and he was like, "You're the butcher of Bakersfield."
It's pretty sweet nickname.
Man, Ben Richards is also talking all sorts of shit to him while he's puffing on a cigar in true Arnold fashion.
Yeah.
But like, is this wise to talk shit to the guy that you need to save your life?
Right. Yeah. Mick says, "You're one of the cops who locked up all my friends by my song." So Mick was also a musician in the movie. And that people like Richards turned the country into a jail. Yeah, so they don't look too kindly on Richards. It's a lot of hearsay, but I like that Weiss in this scene is sympathetic, saying that it's probably not true, that it's all propaganda. So at least one person in the room is level-headed. Yeah,
you can't just believe what you want to believe and say that everything else is a lie.
That's right.
Seeing is believing. The next day, they just cut to, I guess, he successfully did get his collar removed. So the next day, Richards, who's dressed in a World Gym sweatshirt with sort of the sleeves cut off, he got a deep cut down the chest, suspenders, like sort of a lunch pail or a toolbox, and a yellow hard hat. Looks like very inconspicuous.
Yeah, it's like a construction worker, or what he thinks a construction worker would look like.
Yeah, he's skipping town.
That's right.
And Laughlin and Weiss are asking him, don't you want to stay and help us out? But he tells them he's not interested in their politics. He wants to go. He's going to go meet his brother. Who's going to help him get out of town.
Lay low in LA. I always, watching it now, the image of people jumping on the flatbed, like Spanish speakers, like sneaking in, is very timely. I was like, man, just people like trying to have a better life.
Yeah, this is like day laborers or migrant workers or whatever like that. I love Richards told him, "I'll see you at the 10-year prison reunion," as he runs off.
That's a pretty sweet line.
It was. Good work to Sousa.
For sure.
Well played, sir. And now the scene will shift to the ICS headquarters.
That's right.
Where we see the host of Running Man, Damon Killian.
Played by Richard Dawson.
Absolutely.
Playing the role that Roger Ebert said that Richard Dawson was born to play, which is essentially just playing himself. But
he is. He's got this, there's just throngs of fans waiting. He must be I guess he's the biggest star. He's
it's the most popular TV show in history. So he is the biggest star in the world.
He's like Ryan Seacrest times 100 or something like that.
I love that blood red Maserati limousine that he rolls up in.
Yes, that thing was incredible.
That car is sick.
That had to have been custom made for the movie. It was amazing. Yeah,
I love the people
absolutely
in the crowd.
Amazing.
We need you, Damon. The people are just everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid.
He had he had a lot of old lady groupies. For sure. But he seems to be sweating the fact that the Running Man ratings have sort of plateaued.
That's right. We've peaked.
He's got this sort of hot assistant with him, or producer. But guy, he is a huge fucking asshole.
Yeah. I feel bad for the poor janitor guy.
Yeah. He bumps into this janitor who's mopping the floor in there, and he's very friendly to him. And then as soon as they sort of get out of earshot of him, Killian's like, if he's still here mopping the floors tomorrow, then you're going to be you're going to mop the floors the rest of the week to the assistant.
Yeah.
Goofy
asshole.
People say that Richard Dawson was not unlike this in real life.
Yeah, it's completely believable to me.
Yeah, I guess I could see it.
Just get on set and be yourself, man.
Yeah, they're well cast. And Sven Ole Thorsen, he's in the elevator waiting, and he's the head of security for Killian.
Oh yeah, imposing
Killian,
presence.
Great name for a villain, Killian.
Damon Killian is a very sinister name for sure.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Demon Kill. Love it.
Then we're back with Ben Richards. He's entering this apartment building, I guess, looking for his brother's place.
Yeah.
But as I said, Schwarzenegger is the opposite of inconspicuous. He's the most jacked dude you've ever seen in your life, with a huge cigar in his mouth and a yellow hard hat on. It's just anyone who saw him that day would have remembered it. I think.
Yeah, the giant guy with the World's Gym shirt and a hard
holy
hat.
shit! You might not have recognized him as Ben Richards, but you would have said, holy, there's a giant with a hard hat on and a stogie.
Well, I love that.
Look at this fucking guy.
So he goes into his brother, who we at some point learned his name was Edward. He goes into Edward's apartment, and it looks like he's in a woman's apartment. It's definitely a woman's place.
They apparently didn't change the codes on the lock.
Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. That the building wouldn't change the security code doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's bonkers. Now, back at ICS, there's Killian has a flunky who's I remember him mostly as being sort of the bad guy from Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, Kurt Fuller.
The mayor's shithead assistant.
So good in everything. Always playing that goofy.
Yeah,
asshole.
he's slimy, sort of corporate type bad guy. But he's telling Killian that the Department of Justice has been calling every 10 minutes, and Killian tells him, just give them an evasive answer. Tell them to go fuck themselves.
It's evasive. The very definition of evasive.
I love that.
It's so good.
I will say, you could tell Dawson was having a good time playing this part.
Eating it up, just chewing the scenery. He's
good. Probably finally, I get to say the things that I want to be saying, that I had to filter myself on Family Feud. I can't tell Grandma to go fuck herself, or Aunt Susie, or whatever.
He wants to so bad.
But yeah, back at the apartment, Amber... That's Maria Conchita Alonso.
Welcome home.
She comes
home. What time of day? So I feel like she's coming home midday with tons of shopping bags.
Yeah, I feel like she was out for a little morning shopping.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I would say it was probably maybe 1 in the afternoon, something like that. That's my thought.
But then she has the kitchen make breakfast for her, which I guess is not weird because I ate breakfast today at 1 o'clock also, so that's kind of awesome. But
maybe she was coming home from
a night of
male
partying.
Friend's place or something,
and those
or
were
a
gifts
lady friend.
Those were gifts that her romantic liaison bought her.
This is a good call. Yeah, it's definitely not early in the morning.
No, because Richards left early in the morning, and he had time to get from the outskirts to to downtown. To his brother's place. But I love the kitchen that makes breakfast for you, a la like Back to the Future 2.
Oh, yeah.
Where you just pop the little mini pizza in and then it makes your food for you. Love that shit.
She wanted that toast and coffee.
I love it.
She turns it on to TV, ICS Channel 1.
That's right.
It's Captain Freedom's workout show.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura is amazing as Captain Freedom in this movie.
Oh my gosh. He's touted as being the greatest stalker in Running Man history.
That's right.
But he is so fucking campy, his performance.
That little scamper that he does across the screen and they're like, like laughing is the funniest shit ever.
He's got all these like dancing girls out there, which are probably the same dancing girls that are the Running Man dancers that we'll see later.
One would think.
But yeah.
But we also see Amber doing her workout in her lingerie, which is fine. But I mean, why dirty up more clothes, I guess.
I said I have two questions. Number one, why is she working out in lingerie? And number two, who cares? It's awesome. She looks so good in this movie.
Yeah, she's in terrific shape. Way to go, Maria Conchita.
The arms.
Yeah.
Like she was nearing perfection in this movie. She looked so nice.
Maybe she was working out with Arnold off camera, like he was helping. Like,
it could be. He's like, oh my goodness, yeah. I don't know, but they cut into the Captain Freedom show. That's right. With a little news bulletin.
Interrupt this program. Who say that Richards, a news bulletin comes out about the search is on for Richards, who has allegedly killed some civilians, and they're going door to door, and they're showing various images of what he might look like. And I fucking love that mustache mugshot, dude.
Oh my God. He looked like shit with that mustache on. Is that what inspired the mustache you're wearing today?
This thing rules, man. See, what happens is when you've got no one to impress in life, facial hair is 100% for your own entertainment.
That's for your own enjoyment.
That's right. It's to,
oh my gosh.
It's to make me laugh.
Yeah, him with that mustache. Why does he have a mustache in the mugshot? Do you think that was,
I think it's just
maybe that was like his when he recruited into the military or whatever? That's it. That was his look.
I think it's just them showing what he may look like any of these scenarios. I think that they doctored the photo as like a deep fake.
It's like, here's what he would look like if he was wearing a fake mustache.
Exactly. But I love that he subdues Amber mid sit up. Like, wow.
Yes, he's just like creeps up behind her as she's doing her thing there. Yeah, and I just can't get over her in that lingerie. I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
That's okay. That's fine.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I'm up against it. But
he's distracted, ladies and gentlemen.
So he tells her, "This is my brother's apartment. You know, are you his friend? Are you a friend of his, or something like this?" She says she just moved in. That the last guy who was there, he had been taken away for re-education.
So we gather that means Edward's probably dead. He's been taken to a concentration camp and killed.
Reading between the lines, he was either put on something like the Running Man, or he was taken to another type prison situation like Ben just escaped from. It's all very 1984
Wonder what
or
Edward
whatever.
Did. Edward must have bucked against the system too, like Ben. Maybe he was speaking out. Maybe he was speaking out in favor of his brother and got busted by ICS.
I feel like we may as well mention it now that it is weird that the brother is never mentioned again.
Agreed.
Like, you would have thought that would be a thing that could pay off later. Like, he finds out that his brother was whatever, he's in the files here, or he was on the Running Man. He was killed on the Running Man. It gives him added motivation.
It would have been interesting when, like, later on in the movie, we'll address this, like when Amber gets a hold of Ben's raw files and stuff and gets access to that, if there had been something in his file, or if the Resistance had been able to hack in and tell him, like, they killed your brother, and that's something that, like, finally gets him on board, because he's very resistant against the Resistance, like this whole movie, you know? Like, he doesn't want to play that game.
I have just a fan fiction theory.
Yeah. Hit me.
Let's say that this apartment is like an ICS employee apartment. Maybe they set, the people to live there. What if Brother Edward had worked for ICS and had, been like, I don't believe that my brother Ben did this thing. Right. Found the raw file, knew he didn't do it, but got caught, captured, sent away, whatever.
It would have made more sense to me that he had been killed, but then, like, they needed to pay that off. Like,
yeah, that was just a weird thing to mention it and never mention it again.
It's not like this movie was too long and they needed to cut some.
That's for sure. Yeah. But anyway, Ben Richards tells Amber that he's been framed.
All right.
Now she tries to sort of run off. He is real grabby with her.
She freaks out and starts screaming, and he pins her down.
Ayúdame!
Which I love it. He says,
I love it. Ben Richards, the bookstore at Bakerfield is in my apartment.
And he says he's going to be out in 5 minutes, but this is another moment in a long list of moments that we've talked about or will talk about when burly Arnold Schwarzenegger is thrust into a situation with a female stranger and like physically forces her to listen to him try to explain his innocence. He's like,
all he does, he strong arms women.
I'm trying to tell you that I'm innocent.
This happens in Predator and Commando.
Definitely,
just spring to mind instantly.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway,
Always.
That's just all he knows. That's all he knows is using those muscles.
Will she trust him? Only time will tell.
Would you? I don't know at this point. But yeah, we'll have to come back and talk a little bit more about it later because we are at time for now.
We're at time, baby. Man, this has been awesome. This movie's so great. I hope you guys have enjoyed this.
This movie, Fox.
This first episode. Yes, it does, baby. Fox, all right.
All right. Well, we'll be back. We hope you'll be back next week with some more 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger.
Bye.